And we are live. Hey, Josey.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Doing well, doing very well. How are things in Cayo?
It's good. The weather is nice. So I'm really enjoying it right now.
Good.
How's it on your end?
Yeah.
I know you guys were just in Sun Pageant and in Belize, and I saw
Yeah.
all the videos of you guys dining
Oh my
out on the
goodness.
beach.
It was
Definitely.
so nice to get back. So nice. Well, listen, thanks a lot for spending a few minutes with us today. A lot of my clients are asking questions about immigration, QRP program, how to get their temporary stays in Belize, how to get their permanent stays in Belize, all that kind of good stuff. So I brought in my expert today. Expert is Josey Dawson. You might have seen her on the channel here before, but there's been a lot of changes since our last video came out. And I wanted to let you guys know that Josey has offered to help my clients with this. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to you. So why don't you pull up your slides and we'll go through the different types of residency. Tell us about the changes, and then we'll answer some questions at the end.
That sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and quickly share my screen, and let me know when we're good.
Okay, we're good to go. So I see the first is QRP.
QRP, yes, which simply stands for qualified retired person. You don't have to technically be retired, but the program is catered to a lifestyle of being retired in Belize, whereas you're not working. So, but again, you can hold businesses, still work outside of Belize, but for everybody to understand, QRP stands for qualified retired person. And as you mentioned at the beginning, there has been some changes, and Belize is known for, the laws to kind of, it just ebbs, there's always adjustment. And to this program, the same thing. They've added some new features. So I'm definitely excited to just update your clients based on the last one of all the new changes and stuff that's coming with the QRP program. Yeah.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yes. So where before we had residency in Belize, you could get, you come down as a tourist, and then you can go into, permanent residency. You have to be here for a year, then citizenship and QRP. Now we have temporary residency.
And that's something new then, right? That's something they didn't have that
very,
before.
very new. That came in right at the end of 2019, right at the, height of COVID, but it is a very new program, and it's a hybrid of the QRP program, but administered and governed by the immigration department. So that is for people that cannot meet the requirement of permanent residency. And for people who have done their research to obtain a permanent residency in Belize, you have to be in the country of Belize. You have to spend an entire year in the country of Belize before you can apply for the status of permanent residency. Temporary residency is catered for investors. So those are for people that want to invest in the country, but are not planning to literally commit. They're coming down, investing, and going back. So they don't meet the time requirement. They can't meet that. So the temporary residency is for those type of people looking for that type of status. That
okay, so let me just kind of pause and ask a question here. So I'm familiar with permanent residency. You come down to Belize, you spend 1 calendar year in the country, then you can apply for permanent residency. You don't have to invest in anything. You don't have to own property or anything.
No.
After 5 years of living in Belize as a permanent resident, then you can apply for citizenship.
Yes.
All right. Exactly. So I understand that. But now this temporary residency. So that means if one of my clients were to come down to Belize, let's say March 1st, and how much does he have to invest into real estate?
So they do have to invest in 500,000 Belize. Okay. So, and again, it doesn't have to be necessarily real estate itself. Real estate would be a good avenue because then they can hold multiple and it probably will meet that requirement very quickly. It can be any form of investment. So it can be in the tourism sector, it could be in land, it could be anything else, agriculture. They just have to meet that financial requirement as an investment. Because again, it is designed for investors,
Okay.
not somebody who's planning to relocate to Belize, whereas normally that would qualify for permanent residency.
Okay, so if one of my clients comes down, they spend 250, let's say they buy a property from me, 250. What is this temporary residency? When would they apply for it? How would it start? When would it end?
So this is an annual status again. So it will be renewable every year. So, if they come down and they wanted to invest and get the ball rolling in getting a status, they can always start off with a temporary residency, and then they can move on to a permanent residency. With the temporary residency, they can start a business, again, because they have an immediate residency status, so they can apply for trade license. So the process itself is you're going to be writing a letter to the immigration department, explaining why you can't meet the time requirements. You do have to employ Belizeans, for your business. There's a few other little requirements, a police report, normal supporting documents, but the main requirement is the investment.
Okay.
So, there's a few other supporting documents, your identification, police report, your letter of request, but definitely proof of your investment in the country. So that would be, your sales agreement, your fully executed sales agreement, or, your business or trade license or whatever you've established.
And then at the end of the year, at the end of the 1 year, when it runs out, you say it's renewable.
Yes.
Do they have to invest another 250,000?
So they don't.
No.
So they're just renewing their status.
Okay.
The difference between this one does have a fee, I believe, of like 1,000 Belize for the temporary residency. So that fee itself is due every time you renew it. So that's where it's different than the QRP program, whereas the QRP program, the program fee is a one-time fee. So once you're in the program, you pay your program fee of 1,000 and your QRP ID, and that's it. At renewal, it is $50 Belize for your renewal ID, which you renew at December each year.
Okay.
Again, but it's for two different type of people. Temporary residency are for people that are planning to invest in the country Belize, whereas QRP, you cannot invest where it's generating an income. You can invest as your buyers if they're purchasing property to build a home, but they can't, add an Airbnb or a business on it under the QRP.
Okay.
And that's where they created Retire and Invest.
Okay, so under the BTB structure here, I see you have two columns, immigration, and now under the BTB structure, Belize Tourism Board, we have QRP, and then we have this new Retire and Invest.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So this changes it all, because I've been with BTB and doing the QRP for so many years, and I've been advocating for my investors, and they're finally coming out with a program where because the age is very young for in the program. It's 45. A lot of people, spouses one might want to be on the beach lay down, and one might want to run some a small diving, fishing, or little business or whatever, Airbnb when you're not fully here. So this new feature, Retire and Invest, you get the benefits of the QRP where you can bring down your personal items duty-free, tax exempted. So you can still get your personal items, your boat, your car. And as you know, Dennis, somebody who's relocated here, that alone can be extremely high, the importation. I believe it was last year's report where they reported, I think it was 50,000. Can't remember the exact sum. I had it in my head, but it is 50% of Belize revenue. Yeah, so wow. if everything comes into this country, So everything is important. We make, rice and beans and our lumber, but everything else is brought in. So importation is quite high. And if you're bringing down a vehicle, that can be anywhere from 45 to 60% of the value.
Mm-hmm.
So under this program, you can still take full advantage of the exemption, but you can also now own a business. So I believe, let me just quickly.
So, okay, maybe I missed that. So under the QRP, you can own a business?
No, under the QRP, no. So
No,
under
okay.
the retire and invest.
Okay, so that's what probably a lot of my clients are looking for. For example, I just had 3 Zoom calls today. All 3 Zoom calls asked about the QRP, but I recommended they don't do it because they want to run a business.
Yes,
So
exactly.
this portion here, this invest, this is what I would recommend for them then.
Exactly.
Okay,
So they've dropped
this
down yes, exactly. So now they can come under the QRP and they can own a business, they can work under this new feature. The age has dropped from 45 to 35. So it opens a whole new avenue for, people like myself who wants to come down and invest, wanted to come to Belize and invest into a business in the country. So you still do need to have a source of income.
Mm-hmm.
They are expanding the source, whereas before they wanted a guaranteed continuous source of income and they felt comfortable with, annuity, any retirement plan. Now they're trying to, include something like in a personal savings, investments account, inheritance. So there's a lot of new options that's going to be included in this portion. So again, somebody at 35 won't be touching their IRA or their 401k. So, at this point, but they can, if they do have it, is a good plus because they can show, I do have a 401k. It will be, obviously can't be touched until 10 years from now to reach maturity. But if they have an investment portfolio, if they had a savings that they're going to be using, any capital they're going to be using for the investment, we can definitely explore that.
So for example, just to go back there, it says 24,000, 2,000 a month. So if I have 24,000 in my savings account and I go to apply, that counts.
Exactly, that counts. So personal savings is in there exactly. So
okay, good to know.
The exact way they're going to view it is yet to be, how I'm going to have to present it in the way they want to see the personal savings. But yes, but they're adding it because obviously they know somebody at 35 won't be able to touch and just get disbursement from their retirement account at that age.
Gotcha.
So they're going to be using some other form of income to invest in the country of Belize. There is certain foreign currencies that are like, US currency, pound, euro, Canadian dollars, to be able to use within the program itself.
Okay.
So anybody accepted into this new program, they'll be able to carry on, carry a business in Belize. So again, they're not limiting to what sector at all. So it doesn't have to be tourism. Whatever sector they want to venture into, they can. They just have to prove, this is where it's a little higher. It has to be within $1 million Belize. So it is a little bit higher in the investments. But again, it's not, everything is not confirmed yet. It's coming. So this is still being figured out. But this is the current price of investment would be somewhere around $1 million Belize.
Okay.
Then they have to at least hire a minimum of 5 Belizeans to be employees. So, if you have an Airbnb or something like, your caretaker, the housekeeper, any property management, and you have a year, you don't have to go into the application having 5 employees. You can hire as your business grows.
Okay.
Anybody who's opening a new business, not necessarily going to hire all their staff at once, but you can definitely add them as you go. So you have a year to get the 5 employees for your business. So another beauty on it is that once you get approved in the retire and invest, after 5 years, you're automatically given a permanent residency. So you're switched over automatically. So you're not applying for it. It's just a switch over to the new, to that status. So you go from retire and invest under QRP to permanent residency. Then again, the same benefit applies to their dependents. So your dependents can seek employment. They can make investments if they want. So it's definitely a great feature. It opens up a whole new avenue for underneath the QRP for investors.
Okay, excellent. Oh, this is very interesting. Very cool.
Yes. Let me see if I have I did have another section where a lot of people are confusing the QRP, and they look for information online and they're never really getting the answers. I get a lot of questions from people and they're reading these forums, and I'm like, no. No,
do not believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly. Do not. I'm like, it's so off. They can always reach out to me and ask their questions that they have, and I'll definitely guide them. It's like, no, that is completely wrong. Or there's might be some truth to it. It's just maybe misunderstood. But some of the questions that I get a lot is, if somebody's married, do they have to apply together? No, you don't. So if one person can decide to come down and apply for the QRP if they wanted, or same thing as for the invest, one person could go over. It is not a requirement that both people or both spouses apply. Again, this is a good feature at this point, where if somebody wanted to work and one wanted to take advantage of QRP, then they can, one person applies underneath the program, and then the other spouse, takes a different avenue.
Okay.
Again, as I mentioned, the QRP program fee, which is $1,000 US, it is a one-time fee. So once you're in the program, you pay that initial fee, and that's it. You're in the QRP program. You're not locked into the QRP. A lot of people feel that once they come down and they apply for QRP, that's it. They're locked in. No, it could be a stepping stone to permanent residency, and then then 5 years you move on to citizenship if you want to. So you're not locked into this program at all. One of the biggest benefits or features is that you do not need to be in the country of Belize to apply. Whereas permanent residency, you have to be here for a year. Mm-hmm. You can apply for your QRP status before even arriving to Belize. So you can sell your home, pack your home, ship your home, get your QRP status, and then move to Belize. So everything is pretty much set before you even get here. Nice. So it's definitely a really good program, because it's the fastest status, residency status in Belize, and it's now recognized by a lot more departments. Traffic, captain's license, accept your QRP as residency. So if your clients again have questions on it, it has changed a little bit, they're more than welcome to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to help them navigate which, if it is a good fit for their goals and plans.
Nice, excellent. Why don't you show your email address right on the screen? There we go. So Josey at QRPinbelize.com. So everybody can email her directly. Of course, if you want to copy me on the email, just so I can see that they have indeed contacted you, that's good. So how do you work with clients? For example, if I have a client who would need some help in one of these areas, how does that work? Like, how do you start to work with them?
A quick introduction. You can always either send an introduction email, that you do normally, or you can just provide, they can reach out to me directly and say, you know, I saw you on Dennis video, and they can reach out to me that way. But an introductory email would be more than enough to have me start the conversation and set up a call to listen and find out what their plans and goals are, so that I can kind of say, yes, this fits what you are planning for your life here in Belize.
Yeah. That's good to
And if
know.
not, then I can navigate. It's like, okay, maybe you take a different avenue to accomplish your goals.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. Josey, it's been such a pleasure to have you on today, and good to see you. Steph and I are hoping to get back in April. And if our schedules
Yes,
coincide, we'd love to get together, have dinner with you guys, and, you know, catch up. It's been a long time.
it has been a long time, and I definitely would like that, Dennis. And thanks again for having me today.
Yeah. So listen, one more thing before we go is
Mhm.
a lot of my clients, you know, have bought land and they're building homes and rental casitas. And from what I understand, you are helping people get their hotel tax license so that they can do those things legally.
Exactly, yes. So my services does include hotel licensing and setting up your trade license, and, you know, all your inspections that are required by CBA, DEA, health, fire. So I do assist in that. So we definitely will, you know, have a separate interview so that I can break down what is actually required to have an Airbnb in Belize and operate it legally in the country. So your guests can have the best experience here.
This is a fantastic, you're a good resource, Josey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis.
We give our love to your daughters, and we'll hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you,
Okay, yeah.
Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.